listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
You can put it on the board. Yes.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged, prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, of course, the king of all, those massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever had as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's www.uppercutchops.com, or give them a call. Find out what's for dinner at 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! All right, I know our audio's a little bit off here, folks, so it is what it is. You'll be fine. Trust me, you'll be fine. Big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, from Honolulu all the way down to South Florida, a bunch of points in between, as well as those watching in on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Time Warner, and WOW Cable Television and Hotel TV from coast to coast in all Nielsen-rated markets. You know, folks, Major League Baseball continues to tinker with the rules. It seems like they do it every year. Not really sure. It's really not Major League Baseball. I think it's Rob Manfred is turned into, from the fans' point of view, the public enemy number one. This guy seems to cause trouble every year. Something crazy or stupid, in my opinion, happens. Well, guess what? We have more rule changes for 2024. Oh, yes, and we're going to, of course, we're going to follow the game up just a little bit more because we can, right? Well, I guess that's what Rob Manfred is saying. I'm not really sure. Why not? Let's just turn it into whatever the hell he wants to. So the Major League Baseball's competition committee voted to approve multiple rule changes for this upcoming season. Now, of course, those updates include subtraction of 2 seconds from the pitch clock. I can get to that in a second. When there are men on base, cutting the time from 20 seconds to 18 seconds. That's a real big problem. Nothing will change for scenarios in which the bases are empty, as pitchers will still have 15 seconds to begin their actual delivery. Of course, last year, the average delivery began within 7.3 seconds on the 20-second timer per the league. See, the problem with this, folks, if you're going to take any time off of any clock, since the average delivery time with nobody on base was 7.3 seconds remaining on the 20-second clock, that means it took 12.7 seconds to deliver the ball. So why don't they reduce the 20-second timer maybe from 20 seconds to 18 seconds or even 17 seconds when the bases are empty? Now that seems to make a little bit more sense to me, because when the bases have, well, when they're occupied, right? Leave it like this. When the bases are occupied, there's a problem. And the problem is there's a lot of stuff going on. Now, if you've never been on the hill, I can assure you, I'm going to scoot out just a touch here. And so we're going to act like we are in the stretch position. All right, as a left-handed pitcher, here I am. All right, everybody looking at the TV screen, you can see me, or if you're watching this on your computer, I'm in a set position as a lefty, and I'm looking right at first base. All right, everybody can see that because I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking to my left. So I'm looking at first base. Well, the reality is this. Now I've got a guy that may be going back and forth, or he may be tinkering and leaning back and forth, whatever he's doing, moving his hands, he's a distraction. Now, out of the corner of my left eye, I may be able to see, if I have my head tilted a little bit backwards, a little bit this way so I can see second base and first base. Now I've got the same chaos going on over at second base. Now it only stands to reason that the pitch clock should remain the same with runners on base versus when there's no runners on base. I mean, look, when there's no runners on base, right, I'm in a wind-up position. I'm looking right over my glove, right at the catcher, who's likely getting the sign from the manager or the pitching coach, unless I get to call my own game. So I get to shake it off or, yep, okay, I want that one, right? And then I get into my wind-up position and I throw the ball. The problem is if I'm in this stretch position and I'm looking at first, now I've got to make a decision. So the clock is going here. The clock is telling me, okay, now you're going to take 2 seconds off of my decision-making ability time. There's a problem with this because maybe I just have a guy on first base here, but maybe we have our own little chess game going. Look, you've already taken multiple moves away from first base. Now I can only throw over there twice. And if I miss him on the second time, now I didn't get him on the first time, that means the next time I go to first base, I have to actually pick him off, which means the likelihood is very unlikely it's going to happen. So that runner's going to take off in a hot second. So when the runner takes off, now what happens? Oh, by the way, we have bigger bags on top of it, right? So now the runner even gets a couple of inches from first base and a couple inches before they get to second base. Well, technically, because the bag is bigger. So the reality is the distance is less. And so what I'm saying here is if you're going to take off 2 seconds when there are men on base, cutting the time from 20 to 18 seconds, what is the logic in that? I'm here and I'm thinking, am I going to throw to first base or am I going to whirl and throw to second base? The reality is this, folks. If you're going to have me as a pitcher take less time to make a critical decision, which could certainly change the face of the game. It could change the dynamic of the game that we're currently playing in. It stands to reason that, of course, it, again, is advantage offense and disadvantage defense and pitching every damn time. And that, of course, is Rob Manfred trying to do what? Oh, speed the game up? So you're trying to speed the game up, but you're trying to create more chaos. So it's more like controlled chaos on the diamond. And you look back at the 150 whatever years that this game has been around. And this guy says, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and tinker with the game a little bit more just to make it more interesting. So look, just from that particular rule change, that is completely ridiculous, recalculous. It should never happen. So here we go. There's more. A wider runner's lane to first base will also start next season, as if the runners don't have enough room. And this is obviously for turns and this and that. It's just a bunch of BS. Previously, the batters had to run in the dirt space between the foul line and the 3-foot line in hopes of avoiding being called out for interference. But in 2024, the lane will instead extend to the edge of the infield grass. There will be an extra 18 inches to 24-inch space between the foul line and the infield grass in each park, with exception, of course, for certain fields that would be harder to update. And the pitch clock and runners lanes amendments will likely be the most noticeable. The rest of the changes for the next season are intended to further address the game's pace. Really? So other rules intended to shorten the game include a pitching change. Oh, here we go. Let's go ahead and screw with this again. When a new pitcher arrives on the warning track with less than 2 minutes left on the inning break clock, it will reset to 2 minutes instead of 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Broadcasters are guaranteed 2 minutes worth of commercial time, but inning break features a pitching change average 35 seconds more than in 2023. So what they're saying is, hey, look, now you're going to have to run. You're going to have to get yourself winded before you even get in from the bullpen. That's not very fair. Also, there's fewer mound visits. Rather than 5 mound visits, clubs will be limited to 4. So let's make it even more difficult on pitching. An exception will be granted in the 9th inning if a defensive team is out of visits at the end of the 8th. Clubs averaged 2.3 mound visits per game last season. Why? Because you're changing the rules. You're changing everything. Those are part of the fans' most disliked aspects of the sports, a survey shows. Yeah, whose survey is it? Is it one saying that we're going to go ahead and sell less advertising because you think you don't like this rule change or you don't like this part of the game the way it's going? It's complete BS. Signaling visits. So yeah, defensive players won't be required to visit the mound to signal for a mound visit anymore. Major League Baseball hopes this will prevent teams from using mound visits to kill time. Really, it's Rob Manfred hopes that this will prevent teams from visiting the mound too frequently. Batters' requirement for pitchers. Are you ready for this one? In addition to the requirement under the 3-batter minimum rule, pitchers sent to warm up for an inning will be mandated to face at least one batter. Try that one on. Major League Baseball's review found 24 instances last season of pitchers warming up between innings and being replaced before throwing a pitch, with 2 of those occurring during the World Series. So what? Circumvention. The pitch clock operator or field timing coordinator will restart the clock after a dead ball as soon as the pitcher has the ball. This is Little League rules. Pitchers won't be required to be on the mound, therefore eliminating the ability to delay the start of the clock by walking around the edge of the mound after a foul ball. This is stupid. Tell you what, when we come back from break, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. This is a bunch of BS, a big steaming pile of you-know-what. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Al Bubba Baker, quarterback breaker and the rib maker.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Folks, this segment is brought to you by, yes, the Chicago Food Favorites page on Facebook. Yes! You know, recently this was created for people that love food from Chicago. It's one of the culinary capitals of the world, arguably some of the best food in the world right there in Chicago. Check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. We don't get any money for this. We just dig it. And hopefully you dig it too. Just go ahead and join the page. Talk about your favorite foods. I don't care. Maybe it has Chicago origins. Whatever it is, just have fun with it. Post pictures, your favorite bakeries, your favorite restaurants, your favorite recipes. You can even load up your recipes under the files section as well on Chicago Food Favorites. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow, or join the group. Have some fun. That's Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Yes! Of course, we're streaming live on that page as well right now. You know why? Because we can. This is my program. That's my page, and I want everybody to enjoy it. I get nothing out of it except bringing food pleasure to the masses. Good stuff. Oh, and a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHK. That's home of the New York Yankees and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcoming to everybody that may be listening in Southern California with our friends for years and years that have been with us over on NBC News and CNBC Financial, as well as right here in Las Vegas and those even in Central Texas. Thanks for joining us all the way down to Auburn, Alabama, WAED, home of the Atlanta Braves, and WDJY 99.1 FM in Atlanta. I know we've got some friends from Chicago over there that may be in that Chicago Food Favorites page on Facebook, as well as our friends down in Southwest Florida. We know there's plenty of you down there. And our signal down there is in Marco Island and, Marco Island and Naples and all those wonderful yachting communities. Just make sure, again, that you like and follow, join the page, follow the show, whatever the hell, you know what to do. All of that stuff, folks. All right, welcome back to everybody. You know who you are. All right, so it was Major League Baseball rules, these BS changes that just seem to happen and happen. And why does it keep happening? I don't know. Ask Rob Manfred. He seems to want to make it happen over and over and over. And hello, Carol. Thanks for watching the Sports Circus on the Chicago Food Favorites page on Facebook. So the reality is these changes, some of them are designed to speed the game. Some are designed to increase the scoring, as if we need more runs scored. We just move the fences into, 300 feet. And we'll just make it a Little League stadium at this point. So these rule changes, we talked about pitch clock changes in the last segment. And of course, we have this mound visit thing, which I mentioned about signaling visits for defensive players. They won't be required to visit the pitcher's mound to signal for a mound visit anymore. And of course, Rob Manfred hopes that this will prevent teams from using mound visits to kill time. In case you don't know who Rob Manfred is, that's Commissioner of Major League Baseball. How? I don't even know. Okay, so now, again, we left off with the batter requirements for pitchers. This is a very interesting rule. And again, I have no love for any of these as a former pitcher myself. And I just scratch my head and say, well, what are we doing here? So this one says, in addition to requirements, under the 3-batter minimum rule, pitchers sent to warm up for an inning. Sent to warm up Think about that. Will be mandated to face at least one batter. Oh, so I guess now you can't warm up. You can't go to the pen and get loose anymore. No. Major League Baseball review found 24 instances last season of pitchers warming up between innings and being replaced before throwing a pitch. I don't know. They said, oh, well, it happened a couple times during the World Series. Who gives a damn? Who gives a damn? Are you out there playing the game? All right, shut up then. So back to this circumvention thing. The pitch clock operator or the field timing coordinator will restart the clock after a dead ball as soon as the pitcher has the ball, and pitchers won't be required to be on the mound. So you can't dawdle around the mound anymore, whatever. As soon as the pitcher catches the ball, has it in his hand or in his glove, well, guess what? Right when he gets another pitch or another ball, sorry, clock starts. So no more gathering your thoughts, no more mental reset for the pitchers. Let's put them at a bigger disadvantage. So, of course, here we go. This is the official of how these rules came to be. So they say, or legend has it, the vote followed talks spanning multiple off-season meetings. Team general managers, and the executive council of Major League Baseball Umpire Association were involved. And the Joint Competition Committee was created as a part of the collective bargaining negotiations between Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association a couple of years ago. So there were 6 owners, 4 players, and 1 umpire on the committee. Yeah, what about the other 25 odd owners? How come they weren't involved? We'll get to that. So there was this committee, and they were credited in a statement from the competition committee from the chairman, John Stanton, after the rule changes were announced. So therefore, everybody didn't get to participate in this. No, they had that sprung upon them. And of course, good old John Stanton had said, quote, from its inception, the Joint Competition Committee's constructive conversations between players, umpires, and owners have produced rules that significantly improve the game for fans. These modifications will improve on last year's work by the Competition Committee, which was a resounding success with our fans and for the sport. I want to thank the Commissioner's Office, the Players Association, and the Umpires Union for their dedication to the greatest game ever invented. Close quote. Unbelievable. So the MLBPA executive director, Tony Clark, another guy that, I don't know. I don't have really the best words for Tony Clark right now. But what I can say is MLBPA executive director Tony Clark's statement took a different tone, expressing that players on the competition committee weren't in support of the new rules. Oh, no. In fact, even with the caller calling in, Mr. Caller, we're going to have to call you back after the segment, so thanks for calling us right now. All right. So think about this, folks. Here's this quote, this ridiculous quote, and this was Tony Clark. How much is he being paid, and why is he being paid? That's another discussion. But they took a different tone, so good for Tony on this one. And he said, quote, this afternoon, players' representative voted against the 2024 rules change proposed by the Commissioner's Office as they made it clear in the competition committee. Players strongly feel that following last season's profound changes to the fundamental rules of the game, immense additional changes are unnecessary and offer no meaningful benefit to fans, players, or the competition on the field. The season should be used to gather additional data and fully examine the health, safety, and injury impacts of reduced recovery time. That is where our focus will be. Close quote. All right, Tony, I'll tip my hat to you because you actually said something good there. I mean, look, ultimately the rules were implemented because Major League Baseball has a majority of the seats on the competition committee. But they said 6 owners. Only 6. That's it. 6 owners. What about all the others? What about the managers? What about the players? Right? Let's go back to that committee again. 6 owners, only 4 players. 4. Count them. 4 players. Out of how many? That's right, only 4. And one umpire? I wonder if that was the umpire that was fixing the games. Oh, no, because that's not just one umpire. That, in my opinion, seems to be many of the umpires.
Show me the money!
What do? They squeeze pitchers. Do you know what that means, folks? When a pitcher gets squeezed? I'll tell you, it's not when you come up to them and you just kind of squeeze them. Right? No, that's not it. It means the strike zone gets squeezed. Less strikes are being thrown because the strike zone gets smaller and smaller, right? So we're squeezing that strike zone and making it a bigger hitting zone for the batter. So the batter can take that outside pitch that's on the paint and it won't be called a strike, maybe as an early in the game. So you see, the problem lies with the fact that pitchers get burnt by umpires on a regular basis. Sometimes you'll see a batter end up with the short end of the stick, and it's usually a batter that's either A, doesn't have a lot of experience, maybe they're just called up or something like that, or maybe they had a controversy, a bad call, or did something to make the umpires upset at them in the first place. But in any event, it's the pitchers that get burnt on this. 6 owners, 4 players, 1 umpire. That's not representative of the league. So Tony Clark did stand up. Of course, I believe that he was probably coerced into it by the powers that be around him. Say, hey, buddy, that doesn't represent us here on the Sports Circus, on Major League Baseball, on the field or in the ownership boxes and whatnot, the management. The reality is somebody had to speak up. Tony didn't really have a choice. But I wonder if they offered him some extra money. Who knows, folks? We're going to be back in just a few minutes on the circus, and we're going to take a deeper dive into something else in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come right here on your CBS, NBC, Fox, or independent affiliate across the country. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more.
800-957-6209. 800-957-6209. 800-957-6209. That's 800-957-6209.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. You've got to remember to do your testing and always need to stick your fingers to test your blood sugar. The new way to live your life with diabetes is with a continuous glucose monitor. Apply a discrete sensor on your body, and it continuously monitors your glucose levels, helping you spend more time in range and freeing you from painful finger sticks. If you are living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes and you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you might be eligible for a CGM through your insurance benefits. U.S. Med partners with over 500 private insurance companies and Medicare. We offer free shipping, 90-day supplies, and we bill your insurance. Call us today for a free benefits check.
800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Folks, like last segment, it's going to be this segment as well. This segment is brought to you by the Chicago Foods Favorites. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. It's a brand new group that was just started a couple, 3-4 days ago, whatever the hell. Post your favorite foods, whether it's pizza, whether it's spaghetti, whether it's ice cream, whether it's Italian ice, whether it is a bratwurst, whatever. Everything Chicago influence. Great food, some of the greatest food in the world comes from Chicago, lives and breathes in Chicago. You know, people say, well, you know, pizza is Italian. It's from Napoli. The pizza margherita, right? Okay, so that pizza, let me tell you something about that pizza, folks. First of all, that Frisbee is basically just a circle of dough. You got some fresh tomato, and you got some fresh basil, and you've got some fresh mozzarella. That's basically it. Throw it in the oven for maybe 5 minutes or so. I mean, a real pizza takes about 12 minutes to cook, 11, 12 minutes. Depends on how thick it is. But that is the basic pizza. Then they brought that over to New York. And New York, well, let's face it, they could screw up a cup of coffee, if you know what I mean. I mean, it is what it is, folks. But anyway, so they think that the great pizzas in New York, no, it's not those. They have the greasy triangles. It's the flimsy. You hold it up and it droops down like a, well, you know what I'm talking about. This is a G-rated show. But anyway, real pizza. Pizza, listen, it was invented in Napoli, but it was perfected in Chicago. Yes! So check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Join, post, have some fun with it. That's all it's for. We don't get paid a penny for it. This is more of a PSA than anything. It's a public service announcement. It's nothing more. It's not a commercial, so don't worry about it. But anyway, check it out. Lots of fun. Post your recipes there too. Share whatever you want. Who knows? Maybe you have a recipe for klatchkis. If you don't know what those are, you better look them up. All kinds of great stuff from over there. Maybe even pierogies. Whatever the case. Go to Chicago Food Favorites, like, follow, subscribe, whatever the hell. And make sure you do that for the Sports Circus, too. All right. So I know we're streaming on there right now, and people are saying, well, geez, why is a sports show being streamed on a food page? Because we can. That's why. All right. Back to this baseball free agency thing. All right, actually, we had the rule changes in the last segment or two, whatever it was. Now we're going to talk about these free agencies. And we have an issue looking at what the Dodgers have done. I mean, look, I'm a Dodger fan. My uncle played for the Dodgers. I've got all the Dodger bobbleheads, blah, blah, blah. I have to tell you, folks, the Dodgers, in my opinion, have opened the floodgates up for bad deals. And I mean bad deals. Why do I say signing Ohtani was a bad deal? $700 million? People say, he's the best player in baseball. No, he's not. I'm going to tell you why he's not the best player in baseball. First of all, the best player in baseball plays offense and defense and excels at both as the best and as the best. Therefore, you are the best. Now, if you can't play both sides of the ball, first of all, you're not the best player in baseball. Let's think about that. They say, well, he pitches and he hits. Well, even when he's healthy, he doesn't play every day. He's not a position player. Let's think about that. if you're really looking for the best player in baseball, you may want to look to the Atlanta Braves and Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald Acuna Jr. plays incredible outfield. This guy's a 5-tool player. And I would argue that coming up right on his heels is Corbin Carroll, Rookie of the Year last season. Man, this kid is something. Now remember, Corbin Carroll, who's a 5-tool player, right? He can hit. He can hit for power. He's got a good arm. He can run. And what else? The guy can throw leather. That's 5 tools, folks. That's the proverbial 5-tool player. Now, Corbin Carroll went through the Tommy John surgery, which is the ulnar nerve right there in the elbow, folks. You know, it's that funny bone thing, right? I've said this a lot on the show, and we'll have to bring Daryl Evans, our baseball expert, back onto the show, who hit 414 home runs, hit in front of Hank Aaron for 5 years. I think he knows just a little something about baseball. That's why we have these experts that come onto the show, just like Dave Jackson does our hockey. And he's an ESPN rules analyst for ESPN Hockey, all their telecasts. And so the reality is we bring in these guys to talk about this. Now, you can ask a guy like Daryl or any other big league player, even our former guys that have been with us, whether it's Jock Jones or Jack McDowell or this one or that one. Great players have been on this show and sporadically still come back. What not? The reality is this. When you are a 5-tool player, you are truly considered to be one of the best players in baseball. Shohei Ohtani is not a 5-tool player. Oh, what do you mean? He runs fast. He throws hard. We don't know about his glove too much. We know he can hit, and he can hit for power. But remember, he doesn't play every day. Now, if he was playing first base or something, he could qualify. The reality is, you got a guy, when he's healthy, he'll pitch once a week. Maybe you might get him on a Sunday, and then you might get him all the way on the next Saturday or something like that. When he's healthy. Now, second elbow surgery. First one we know was Tommy John. The second one, it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck, but guess what? It's not Tommy John surgery. Come on, man. Who are you kidding? They say, well, you know, it's sort of like that. We don't really know what the name of it is. Really? Okay, I'll tell you why you don't know the name of it. Folks, here's a little known thing in the Japanese language. I studied Japanese for 2 years. Okay, so there are 3 ways, or 3 alphabets, so to say, or 3 ways to say a word or not. There's something called kanji for the kanji characters, which are like the Chinese characters that you see that was derived from the old Chinese language. And then there's another set of sounds that will, basically, those words are not available in Chinese kanji characters, but they're available in something called hiragana. Hiragana is something that can be translated into Japanese, into their sounds and their language. And then for all those other words, like my name, for example, S-A-L, well, that would have to use this third sound alphabet, so to say, called katakana, right? And so the L sound, for example, I study Japanese, but I know this stuff, right? Just a little bit. The reality is this. The L sound does not exist in the Japanese language. So therefore, they use an R and a U sound, R, right? So my name technically, as when I was over there in my baseball escapades, was Sir, right? It was Sir, right? It's because the L sound doesn't exist. But the funny part about that is S-A-R-U, Sir, actually translate to monkey. You know, it's just one of those things. So when they say, well, we don't know what to call it. Well, guess what? Maybe if you use katakana, you'll know what to call it because you know the sounds. And see, this is just a game that's played with linguistics, folks. Don't tell me you don't know what to call it because you certainly know. If you know how to go under the knife and fix it, you certainly know what to call it. Ah, yeah. So reality is they're just playing games. They're saying, well, geez, you just signed for $700 million. I don't care how much of it's deferred. The reality is they're going to have to pay up anyway. So this guy, Ohtani, as the number 1 free agent, signed with the Dodgers, $700 million. Oh, and then right behind him, let's just go ahead and sign yet another Japanese player, but this one could actually pitch, right? This Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And they say about Yamamoto, but he is the real deal. Okay, so look, the data on this guy. Okay, so he's 25 years of age. He got the largest pitching contract in Major League Baseball history from the Dodgers. And the deal that agreed, it was $325 million for 12 years. Why the Dodgers wanted him, allegedly, is this guy's only 25 and already perhaps the most proven Japanese pitcher to make the leap to Major League Baseball. And Yamamoto is said to be a top-of-the-rotation arm, and they say, well, the Dodgers need him. So let's go ahead and just blow another $300+ million. So he's short. This guy's about 5'10". He throws in the mid-90s like everybody else in Major League Baseball, but he's got a devastating splitter. Doesn't everybody these days? So Yamamoto put up mind-boggling numbers in Japan. Well, newsflash, folks, the Japanese Baseball League is not where everybody wants to go. The Japanese baseball players want to go to where? To Major League Baseball, if you know what I mean, right? People don't look at the Japanese Baseball League as the pinnacle. No. The New York Yankees don't play there. They play in Major League Baseball. The LA Dodgers play Major League Baseball. The Atlanta Braves, Major League Baseball. You feel me, folks? This is exactly what I'm saying. So this guy was paid a bunch of money because he's basically one of the best that Japan's got to offer. So let's just go ahead and throw, I don't know, a few $100 million at this guy too. And I don't think the Dodgers are done either. But it doesn't matter because this whole free agency thing, it's just a big steaming pile of the same crap as we talked before. I mean, really, the best pitcher available that was re-signed was Aaron Nola by the Philadelphia Phillies. That was a very good move. And Blake Snell has not done anything yet. He is supposed to be moved, but Blake Snell has a problem of going deep into games. He doesn't pitch a lot of innings. We're going to talk about this when we come back in just a few minutes right here on your favorite station. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come. Oh, and by the way, folks, check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. And make sure you tell them the circus sent you.
Can't beat fun at the old ballpark, friends. Hi, Popeye. That would be a home run in a phone booth. I don't know what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you're going to get a prize and find no prize in the box? Here's the pitch. That might not sound important to some people when you're a little kid, especially from humble origin, and they cheat you out of a prize. There's a bouncing ball. Second baseman has a Barbary over to first. It's hard to think in laudatory terms of the product.
I think if there was an occasional box of Cracker Jacks that found no prizes for the little Harry Carey many years ago.
You got that right. And boy, when a box of Cracker Jack to me meant a lot of money. Here's a pitch, bounce foul. That's the most asinine marketing I've ever heard of. 1 ball, 1 strike. These guys say, well, you sing about Cracker Jack. I said that I only sing it because it's in the song. Here's a pitch foul back. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised, even to this day, some youngsters who buy a box of Cracker Jack don't find a prize in the box. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Well, if you're going to talk about a congressman being crooked, here's a pitch foul out of play. Why not talk about commercial products that don't do what they represent to do?
There's a smash to Squires. He's got it. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. We're going to the bottom of the 7th now to score. All tied up. Milwaukee 4, the White Sox 4. Hey! Everybody! All right, Nancy, let me hear you. To the ball game, take me out to the ground, buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back for its root for the White Sox. If they don't win, it's a shame, or it's 1,
cow. This crowd is wild.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Tom Brenneman. How do you not love that music?
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are a podcast, and they can be found on all podcast platforms, whether it's Apple, Google, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora. We're everywhere, folks. You can't get away from us. Also, make sure you check out the partners page. Lots of great partners over there. And one of those is Al's Italian Beef. Al's #1 Italian beef, 1079 West Taylor Street. Where? In Chicago. Of course. Why? Because we think about the Chicago food favorites on Facebook. Make sure you go over and check that out and hit the like button and follow and join and have a good old time with that. Al's Italian Beef. Check them out at goldbelly.com. and get your big tub of Italian beef with the au jus and with the giardiniera. Folks, it's the best damn sandwich you ever had. It crushes that other sandwich that people know of, that Philly cheesesteak sandwich. No competition, folks. None whatsoever. The Italian beef crushes it. Anyway, check them out at 1079 West Taylor Street in Little Italy in Chicago. And if you can't do that, if you're not around the area, just make sure you get on over to goodbelly.com and check out Al's #1 Italian Beef. Lots of other great partners there too, by the way. Of course, College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. Check them out as well, and as well as all of our other partners. Welcome back to everybody on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Everybody watching on TV, thanks for joining us. Also on cable, Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Time Warner, and WOW cable affiliates, and Hotel TV in all Nielsen-rated markets. All right, so we were talking baseball free agency in the last segment, and we're going to continue. I think the best catch in here at this point, I'm going to argue it was Aaron Nola, but I don't like the deal that the Phillies gave him. Look, the guy's 31 years of age, which, at 30, things start to kind of go a little bit sideways. I can tell you that as a former athlete myself, when you hit 30, something happens. I don't know what it is. I mean, the muscles stop developing at 35, but somehow when you hit 30, it's kind of like, oh, the wheels are coming off. So Aaron is 31. He got a 7-year deal for $172 million. Think about that. 7 years. Really, that deal should have looked like a 3-year deal with a club option for the next 2, and then maybe a player option for the next 2 after that, or maybe alternate club option 1 year, player option the next year, something like that. That would have been a little bit more fair. Now, if you look at what he did last season, yeah, he did a great season. The guy's an anchor, about 200 innings pitched. ERA was a little bit high at about 4.5. Walks and hits per innings pitched was 1.15. But his walks to strikeouts, that ratio was very good. That was a 5-to-1 clip, 5 strikeouts for every walk. Very, very good. And so, analysts will say, well, the Phillies wanted him because he's a durable, top-of-the-rotation pitcher. We know that. But I don't think 7 years was the right amount of time for this guy. But then again, look at what Blake Snell's going to ask for. Blake Snell, same age. He's 31. He had, about maybe 13 or 14 innings, less innings pitched than Aaron Nola. His ERA was half of what Aaron Nola's was. His walks and hits per innings pitched was just slightly higher, yet he had, 30-odd more strikeouts than Aaron Nola, but he also had double the walks. Now, Blake Snell does get himself into walk trouble from time to time, but his ERA is sparkling, 2.25. This guy is very, very good. Will he command a 7-year deal? I don't think so. I think he's going to probably get that 3-year deal, and that's kind of where he ought to be. But look, let's face it, he's probably about to win another Cy Young Award, or he's going to probably get one nonetheless. So think about this. This guy, he won it back in about 5 years ago. He won the Cy Young. And he really is that good. When you look, he's got filthy stuff. And that's a very good thing if you're a pitcher. This guy is good. He's a strikeout machine. Imagine if he had pitched 200, 230 innings or whatnot. Guy could have maybe come somewhere near 300 strikeouts. You think of the greats from back in the day like Nolan Ryan. Let me ask you this, folks. How the hell does Nolan Ryan throw 7 no-hitters and get no Cy Young awards? But wait, how does Roger Clemens throw no no-hitters, 0, and have 7 Cy Young awards? Figure that one out. I have no answer for that. And people say, well, Roger Clemens, he cheated in baseball. Let me tell you something, folks. As a pitcher, I can tell you this much. When you're throwing the ball, look, you get the Tommy John thing when you're overthrowing and when you're tweaking your wrist, right? It's that tweaking the wrist. Now, try this at home, folks. If you're watching me on TV, act like you're throwing a slider, right, or a curved ball, like I throw a knuckle curve, for example, but it's that tweaking of the elbow, which puts strain on that ulnar nerve every time you tweak that wrist, right? I'll get to Ohtani with this in a minute. But every time you do that, they say, well, you're hurting your elbow. Okay, so they say Roger Clemens took steroids. Steroids don't help you throw the ball harder, folks. They don't. All they would do is they would essentially drown the pain and make it seem like you don't feel anything. So I had a box break one time in my hand, and they shot steroids right into the break area and into the wrist. And all they did was essentially mask the injury for a couple of weeks. And then I realized after throwing, I was actually doing more injury. And this was part of the rehab. I didn't do steroids per se. No, this was part of the rehab, right? That was from the team doctor. So they gave me that. And what I could tell you is it didn't make me throw the ball harder. The steroids don't make you throw the ball harder. So should Roger Clemens be banned from Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame or whatnot? Should he be on the list? I think pitchers, and I'm going to say this because it doesn't help their performance. It keeps them out there longer. That's it. It doesn't help them throw better curveballs or better this or better that or harder. None of that stuff applies, unlike a hitter. But a pitcher should not be banned because of these substances, because that is truly medicinal, and it's not going to make you bigger and stronger for on the mound where you're going to pick up 5 miles an hour on your fastball. It doesn't work like that, folks. It does not. So now I said I was going to talk about Ohtani for a second, and I will. So Ohtani's not going to pitch this season coming up, but he will be hitting. And think about this. Now, he just had his elbow repaired again, which maybe it was and maybe it wasn't a Tommy John thing. I'm going to guess it was, but who knows? I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. So let's think about this. I'm going to move the microphone up a little bit here. And I want you to think about swinging a baseball bat. So if you're watching me on TV right now, you could see I'm holding a baseball bat. All right? And so, or I'm actually not holding a bat, but I'm acting like I'm holding a bat. Now, when we follow through, I want you to do the same thing at home. Follow through and roll your wrist over. Like you're swinging right through the strike zone, you roll your wrist over so you get that bat speed through the strike zone. Well, what's happening here is you're actually tweaking your elbow. You don't know it. So now keep your top hand in place. If you're righty, that means keep your right hand in place and act like you're swinging a bat. And I'll do it with my left hand. But I want you to put your opposite hand on the elbow of the one that's moving back and forth. And I want you to feel that nerve. You could feel the ulnar nerve, that funny bone, right? You could feel that move back and forth. Now imagine this guy's going to get 600 at bats. Ohtani's going to get maybe 600 at bats, maybe more, who knows. And he's going to swing at 2 to 3 pitches per at bat, generally speaking, right? You factor in foul balls, maybe 3 on average, something like this. That's 1,800 swings, 1,800 repetitions of that elbow, right? Now, when you're pitching in a game, it's about, we'll say 100 pitches in today's time. And then you've got your warm-ups and everything. So it could be up to 180 pitches, 180 throws per outing. Well, he's not going to have that, but what he will have is a compromising of that same elbow area. And people are forgetting this. So if you think that Ohtani can't get hurt by swinging a baseball bat, folks, you better think about that. That's why I said do that exercise. Is Ohtani worth that kind of money? Was he the number one free agent? I don't think so. In any event, I talk about these things because what is the possibility of him coming back and pitching in 25? Nobody knows. He probably will. He's going to likely, in my opinion, end up at first base. So that's probably a really good analysis. Let's move on here real quick so we can finish out these top 10 free agents. Cody Bellinger with a really nice bounce back year. Really nice. And you know that Cody's one of the good guys in baseball. And he was really hitting not even his weight. Last season, he hit 307, 26 homers, had about 500 at-bats, 20 stolen bases, on-base percentage of 881. I mean, the guy had a really, really good season. And he's 28. So he's going to get himself a good contract for sure. He will certainly get a good contract. He comes in allegedly at number 5 in the list. Jordan Montgomery, a very underrated pitcher. Last season had a very good season, finished off with the world champion Texas Rangers. Nice round of applause for him. 188 pitches, nice ERA of 3.2, walks and hits the same as Blake Snell's, right? 166 strikeouts, 48 walks, about the same as Aaron Nola. Jordan Montgomery, very undervalued. Somebody's going to pay some good money for this guy. And look, he's 31 as well, another 31-year-old pitcher. He's worth the dive for sure. Sonny Gray is 34. Had about the same amount of innings pitched as Montgomery. ERA a little bit less at 2.79. Walks and hits per inning. They were all about the same, 1.15. 185 strikeouts, 55 walks. Sonny Gray had a very solid year. Very, very solid year. And so, I don't know. I mean, he signed for the Cardinals on a 3-year deal for $25 million a year. That's too much money, in my opinion, for a 34-year-old pitcher, but what do I know? Number 8, Matt Chapman, 31 years of age again. Hit only 240, 17 homers, 4 stolen bases. Way, way, way overpriced at this point. Someone's going to get stuck with this guy at third base, and I sure hope it is my White Sox. Josh Hader, undervalued, 30 years of age, great numbers across the board. It is what it is. Arguably the best reliever in the game. Sorry, folks. Why do you want him? Pick your favorite reason. This guy slams the door. He is good. It's going to take a lot to get him, though. It really is. And so the bigger question is, who's going to fork up, I don't know, $80 million, whatever? I don't know. Number 10 is Jung-Hoo Lee, center fielder. And I don't really know what's going to happen with this guy either. I mean, look, he joined the San Francisco Giants on a 6-year deal, $113 million, maybe 4 weeks ago. I think that's way overrated, way overpaid, way too much money for, in my opinion, an unproven commodity from the Korean Baseball League. Sorry, it is what it is, folks. I can't see paying unproven commodities in Major League Baseball that kind of money. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it for today's show. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. Make sure you go to Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook and join the page. Have some fun, post your recipes, and gawk at all the food like I do. I do a lot of posting there myself. All right, we'll see you in about 23 hours, folks, right here on your favorite station. Till then, so long, everyone.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.